Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
Hi, welcome to Silicon Valley Technology, Art, Green, and Sustainability this week. Today we have a premier architect from San Francisco, Eric Corey Freed, who owns Organic Architecture and very knowledgeable in the green building space. Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Nice
Happy
to
to
see
be
you.
here.
Thank you for coming down today, and could you tell us a little bit about what you do in your architecture firm?
Well, first and foremost, I'm an architect, and we build buildings, which is, I guess, what architects do. But I realized, I guess, about 10 years ago that it wasn't enough just to make our buildings sustainable, but in a certain sense, to truly be green, we had to be committed to this idea that every building had to be a green building. So now we do a lot of other things that aren't architecture, which is kind of strange.
What other type of things do you do?
Well, I lecture all over the country, and I write books, and I write articles, and we have events lists, and we produce events, and we advise companies on products, and all these strange things that fall well out of the range of architecture that go beyond building. But it made me realize that I had to teach other architects how to be green, and I had to change my view of really the profession, and the idea that when we teach architects how to be green, we teach them how to fish rather than give them a fish.
That's very wise.
Yeah, I guess so.
How long have you been an architect? You look like you've been doing it for 5 years because you look so young.
17 years.
17 years.
Counting. But the youth, don't let the youth fool you. I'm not really that young. It's all Dorian Gray. I'm rotting on the inside. Trust me.
So I know you've spoken at West Coast Green, and you've written a couple books, and I found out today that you're doing 2 more. Can you tell us what those are?
Oh yeah, I want to do a book a year. I like the idea. Books, they're kind of like tattoos. They become very addictive. And so the 2 books, I don't know why I'm doing them at once, but I'm doing the next book on schools, which comes out at the end of the year, and then a book.
And it's titled
Sustainable Schools.
Okay.
And then one called Green Sense, which is really kind of fun. It's 50 projects that people can do in their home, everything from weekend type projects to really extensive remodels.
Well, that's interesting. And what made you, just the teaching again of the architecture and the greening and beyond the architecture, made you decide to do the second book?
No, I think in the last 5 years, a lot of people understand the why of sustainability. They know that there's a problem. They know that there's this issue that needs to be addressed. What they don't understand is the how. So the book is very fixated on the how. I mean, almost to a fault, where this is how you seal your ducts, and this is how you insulate your hot water heater, and it's very step by step. And what's surprising is that there's really nothing out there that does that.
So for my old squeaky 1939 house that my grandfather used to do his own termiting in, it's probably a good place to start to kind of look at the things that you need to do to green up the house.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things that everybody can do, and I felt it very important that in the book that we cover things that even renters can do, because statistically speaking, there's just as many renters as homeowners in this country, and they tend to get ignored.
Probably a little bit more right now, too.
Yeah, and growing, right.
Yeah. So what has been your most challenging green building project? And again, you do commercial and residential, mostly residential, so the audience knows.
We do both. Mostly, I love residential. I love the kind of joy of single family, and I like talking to people about their shaving habits and their pooping habits and things like that. But more and more, we keep getting asked to do other things, and really, I'm looking at picking the project, not picking the person, not really the project. So we'll do everything from a tiny little addition up to a full house, as long as I think that the people would be fun to work with, because it's really a creative process. And now we're sitting as consultants for even larger projects where we're not even the architect, but we're just brought in as kind of the token hippies to green it up.
And so probably your most challenging project, has it been a commercial one or a residential project?
I'd say the most challenging is well, the current one, whatever the current one is, seems to be the most challenging. What we've been finding lately is that more and more I'm put in the role of public policy and public advocacy, where we want to put in a gray water system where we recycle the water, and the city says, no, you can't do that. And
is that a lot of the cities, or San Francisco or San Jose?
oh, it's the whole state.
All
I
of
mean,
them,
in
yeah.
most places.
Okay.
And that's kind of the trouble. So suddenly now we're not fighting City Hall, but working with City Hall to help them change some of their codes and implement some of these ideas.
Yeah, I know you work hand in hand with a lot of the educational facilities in the area. You teach at Berkeley, and where are some of the other places you teach? I
teach at Berkeley and Academy of Art, and in both places I help develop the sustainable design programs there, which is fun. And now I'm teaching in UC Riverside just for fun, to give it a try.
I had no idea that you had a second facility you're starting in Palm Springs, was it?
Palm Springs,
Not
yeah.
Palm Desert, Palm Springs.
Palm Springs.
And so you just expanded that recently, and looking to expand even more in Southern Cal?
Well, it just seems that Northern and Southern California are so different that the idea of having a presence there would help. And if there's a place in need of sustainability, it's certainly Southern California.
And you have some other locations you're working on all over the U.S. pretty much, or?
Yeah, we're doing projects all over the place. Mostly just out of curiosity. I'm not really targeting those areas. I kind of like the idea of it, and I especially like the idea of trying different climates. So we're doing a house outside of Boston, and there's a place where it gets incredibly hot in the summer and incredibly cold in the winter, and
yeah, galoshes and
yeah, exactly.
Mosquito nets and
right.
other things when you go outside.
Exactly.
So on a lot of these projects, are you using the LEED system, or are you using the Greenpoint rated system, Build It Green, or? For
our houses, we use Greenpoint rated. Not all the time. Some clients are resistant to it.
Why would they be resistant?
Well, I think they don't want to be publicly advertised. They don't want to be they're very private people, which is fine. And then on the commercial projects, we do a lot of LEED, and a lot of the LEED stuff we do are firsts. So we did the first multi-tenant office building in the country. We did the first bakery. But the firsts are getting more and more obscure and smaller. So soon it's going to be, the first newsstand on this side of the street kind of thing. It's going to get pretty specific. So
with the Build It Green, you say they don't want to publicize it. So because they have to go through the process of registering it, then that would publicize it? Is that why they don't like to?
Well, I think, because
I don't really know much. I know more about the USGBC stuff than the Build It Green.
Oh.
So
Part of the Build It Green thing is that any Build It Green project that we do, we try to put on the tour, and they give these great green home tours,
okay.
So other people can come in. And really, the idea of having 500 people march through your house is not an exciting prospect for many people.
Not very good for cleaning the floors.
Right. But also, I think they're asking the question why. If they know they're making a green building, why do they need to brag about it or advertise it? So I don't really push the systems. If they want to do it, great. If they don't, then I'd rather focus our time on making a better building.
So for people to get more information on how to do, green building, how to remodel, they can go to your website. You have amazing resources on there. Is there other places you would suggest that they can look at information and kind of start investigating what they're going to do with their home, whether they're building or remodeling?
Well, there's an approach that I think I take in business, and I don't know what you call it, but for instance, I felt that there should be a great directory of green products. So I sit on the advisory board of one called greenhomeguide.com, which is a great site. I felt that there should be a social networking site for green-minded people, so I sit on the advisory board of that one called howyoueco.com.
Oh, interesting.
So I keep kind of joining these advisory boards with the idea that I can't do it all myself, but maybe I can kind of give them some advice and let them do all the hard work. And
again, I think you have no time to sleep because you're doing all these things. That's really exciting. So I guess my next question would be, there's the whole AB 32, there's a stimulus package, and people are saying, how can we take advantage of this when we're doing projects for our home or commercial? Do you have any suggestions or any thoughts on that? And this can be a really long topic, I know.
There's a lot of people that are looking for like a little handout, I guess, from the stimulus package. I have no answers or magic to that. If you notice, President Obama, in his infinite wisdom, put $8 billion aside to essentially add to the energy efficiency of existing buildings. And that's really the low-hanging fruit. I think you're going to see, especially in the next few weeks, if not months, you're going to see a slew of rebates and incentives and different things coming from a federal, state, and local level for people to update the energy efficiency of their homes. And really, just from energy efficiency, simple conservation techniques, we could eliminate our dependency on foreign oil. just really without doing anything else, without adding production. So that's why it's so kind of upsetting that people have been ignoring this for so long.
I know you were saying something about meeting with the, was it the East Bay Real Estate Association? I had spoken to the past president of the Real Estate Association of Santa Clara County, and he really wanted to see, you know, an architect, a builder, designer get together and put something that's actually tangible together for people that do want to green their homes, because there's these financing 3% down if you're buying a home that does need work and you're going to make it green. But it's, you know, it's kind of a question to the real estate people and the people out there of what really is available. So I guess again, is there a resource that people can go to now to look at, you know, how they can get help to green their home financially with that, or is it not that kind of clear cut right now?
It's not so